So in this edition of new from Figaf, we have quite a number of new improvements that we have added here in January, and this is both making CPI monitoring easier, change tracking in CPI. We have enabled web integration, so you can integrate with Jira or whatever you're using. We have made it possible to create test cases directly from an error. But let me show you some of these things. So the first thing is we have a full monitoring of all your configuration or all your development in CPI. And that means you can go into any point in this and then see specific values across this. Now we've added a new functionality that actually allow you to also check what's happened with all your configuration objects. So you can see when a specific parameter was changed in your landscape. So you can see that at this date we changed these two values. That makes it a lot easier to navigate and understand your landscape, figure out what's happening. Another thing that we've added into the CPI is we have monitored payload that failed. So you can see that if a message failed, it will gather all of this information and create a message that you can do for something for this. Now we've added the option for you so you can actually create specific filters in the query. So you can, for instance, query on a specific sender or receiver, and with this information you're actually able to pull out information for non-error messages, and you can then get the attachments from these things. So one of the places we have used this is we have a flow that's uploading messages and it's getting some errors back, but we don't want to handle all of these errors normal way. So we just say this result was a success, and then we want someone to go in and check these attachments and see what was going on. And with this, we actually have the option of going in, checking all of these alerts. It will download them and users can then see it. And this connected with the next thing we have added is we have added webhooks in the support tool for now. So that means whenever an alert is triggered, you can specify one or more webhooks that you want to engage with this. So that means you can use the webhooks either to send to Solman, Jira, Slack, PaperJam, or PagerDuty, or whatever your favorite support tool is that you want these alerts in so you can process them correctly. So it simply just takes all of this data it has, create a JSON payload of it, and send it to whatever system you want. And you can use CPI for this, or you can use PI in your landscape. We have created a simple integration using Jira, SAP PI, because it's a lot simpler to get started on. It's simple. And that is good for some reasons, but other things it can be a little challenging with. If you want to do more than this, we also have a full normal API, and we're also adding webhooks to some of the other objects that we're creating on requests. So just last year we announced this migration report that shows you what are actually the message mappings that you're using in your landscape. Now we have enhanced this so you can actually see what are the XSLTs, ABAP and Java mappings that's being used in your landscape. So the process is fairly simple. You log into the monitoring of your PI system, check download a report that specifies flows used in a specific period of time. You can then upload it to the Figaf IRT application, and because we know I have downloaded all of your message mapping and operation mappings, we're actually able to predict, calculate how many times each message mappings have been executed for a period of time. So that is really important when you're doing migration, understanding what's happening, what you need to test for this to work out. So the reports look like this. You got the ICO, you got number of the message mapping, and you got the number of successful attempts this has been run, and you also got the operation mappings here on, and which are the message mapping that it's been used in. So one thing we have are using the component-based methods alerting from on your PI system to download payloads that or messages that failed. And if you, for instance, have a mapping error, you want to fix this, then with this new addition, when you're creating a ticket and say this is something I want to fix, you can actually create a test case for it also. And with this test case, you can run it and validate that we are not getting the same error again, and the message would be processed successfully. So this improves the speed of development, testing, and validation of all errors that you have. So just wanted to share a little about our roadmap, and it's not like this is going to be probably this is the roadmap from February. So we're going to launch the IRT as a cloud app. So you can sign up figaf.com/IRT. We're starting prices at 150 euros per month for just the monitoring part, and then it's a little higher for the support or the DevOps package that we have. But this makes it, it's the same code line, same base, but it's just targeted at your cloud application, and that makes a lot of sense since it's used to monitor the IRT cloud system. Then one thing that we've seen a lot of people are struggling with is the transportation of CPI objects, and we want to give our view on how this can be done. And the first thing is now we understand what's being configured in your landscape, and we want to make this also available across your landscape so you can configure different parameters in the landscape once you're transporting it. And then we want to be able to enable you to do transport of a single Iflow, so you can create a transport in the IRT application, assign it some values, and then transport it to the QA and test system. So we need to understand, configure your landscape, configure configuration for this to work. And then we are working on documentation your PI interfaces. So you can see that we have this icon with all these information below it, and on top of it, it has some extra information. And the cool thing is we can actually see that you have made, for this iFlow, you have made changes to the message mapping with this service request. You have made changes to the communication channel with this service request. So you actually know all about the history. So instead of just having a standard document that says this is what your landscape is, then we can actually show you for all purposes or what's happening across time with a specific interface. And I think that's really important, because most of the time when I see this changed version, it just says version 0.1 initial version, and that's all you would see. And now you can actually see all the changes that has been made and the reasons behind them. So I'm really looking forward to that. If you want to check it out, go to figaf.com/IRT. If you have any other feature requests or comments or things that could be useful, do reach out to us or me and figure out, is that something we can add to make your CPI or PI experience any better. So thanks for watching.